Hello, angels and children of Lilith. I'm Marked Fauna, and today in the first episode of Ava Month, I'll be talking about the history of Evangelion and going over the general synopsis of the show. Now, this will contain some spoilers, so if you'd like to go into the show blind, I'd suggest binging the show and end of Evangelion, and then coming back to this video. You still there? Great. Now let's get started. Neon Genesis Evangelion is a 90s groundbreaking mecha anime from Gainax and directed by the legendary Hideaki Anno, with a breathtaking soundtrack and beautiful art. The most simple synopsis of the show is that a 14-year-old boy named Shinji Ikari is contacted to return to a post-apocalyptic Tokyo after being abandoned by his father and is called by the same man, Gendo Ikari, to defeat an alien threat called Angels. He then meets the head scientist Retsuko Ikagi and the main captain of Nerve and his soon-to-be caretaker, Masato Katsuragi, who lead him to the resting place of a giant robot called Ava Unit 1 and his father, Gendo. He explains to his son that the Evangelion is humanity's last line of defense against the Angels and that Shinji needs to pilot it. This leaves Shinji confused. Why him? Why did his father suddenly need his help after abandoning him so many years ago? He refuses. How could he do this? He hadn't seen his father in years and now Gendo expects him to get in some giant robot he just saw? There was no way. But after his father calls in a very badly injured Rei Ayanami to pilot it in the aid of protecting him from falling rubble, Shinji gains the courage to pilot the unknown machine and thus the series begins. Evangelion is probably known as one of the most inspirational and philosophical anime to date, with the series getting an 8.6 on IMDb and winning many awards and positive reviews from critics and fans alike. With all the positive reception, the franchise just kept growing, spanning several mangas, series of movies called rebuilds, bullet train designs, video games, cameos in big franchises like Sanrio and Godzilla, tons of merchandise with multiple stores in Japan, an amusement park attraction/museum, and even product placement. I mean, look at this ad promoting the Japanese Racing Association.
エヴァインパクトで出撃した配られる視界文書戸惑う大人たちエヴァシリーズとの禁じられた接触はエンターテインメントの明日を変えるのか次回天皇賞また次もサービス
With all this being said, Evangelion is a beloved series in Japan and all around the world. But of course, none of this would have been possible without the man, the legend, Hideaki Anno. Hideaki Anno spent most of his early work animating on shows like the Super Dimension Fortress Mocross and several Daikin opening animations, but would only gain notoriety for his work after working on the 1984 film Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind. Anno gained the job after reading an ad in a famous Japanese animation magazine and showing Hayao Miyazaki some of his work. Miyazaki, impressed with Anno's work, hired him to draw some of the most complicated scenes in the film and appreciated his work immensely. And so Hideaki Anno's career began with him becoming one of the co-founders of Gainax in December 1984. But animation isn't the only thing Hideaki Anno is famous for. He's considered one of the first to have the ability to make characters with mental illness shine in the spotlight and show the realism of human character and emotion. You see, Hideaki Anno has a long history with clinical depression, this being the inspiration for many aspects on Neon Genesis Evangelion. Longing for the feeling of someone's love, intimacy, and belonging Shinji craved was taken from Anno's own life. Him being engulfed in otaku culture and using it as a form of escapism from the harsh realities of the world, much like Shinji runs away several times in the series. But Hideaki preserved and continued his career, making the last 2 episodes of the series about Shinji coming to terms with his life, and that without pain, happiness could not exist, and that he himself is in charge of his own fate and happiness. Although Hideaki Anno got heavily criticized for the ending, by getting multiple death threats and discouraging emails, even someone going as far as to spray paint the word "die" on Gainax's headquarters. This leading him to give fans everything they wanted on one of the biggest trolls in animation history, but let's save that for a later video. I personally love the original ending. Although the budget wasn't the greatest, you could tell Anno put his heart and soul into these episodes, hoping that Shinji's revelation could help others in the pursuit of happiness. And for some people, like myself, it helped people realize that escapism is a temporary solution to life. and to truly live, we must accept these feelings head on. Well, that's it for the first video of Eva Month. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. It only gets darker from here, folks. I'll see you next week in the next video. And remember, stay human, fellow Lilin.